Okay, so here we got a post by one of Jacob's friends who goes by the name of Bryce. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Jacob's channel was taken down as an act of hate and revenge from a man named Vlad K. And they report. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. First of all, wasn't Jacob friends with this person? I'm pretty sure Jacob was friends with that person right there. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, weren't they having emails together and they were having video calls together and they were talking with each other constantly? And constantly, I mean, like, probably like about a year, if I'm not mistaken. Wow, that is so bizarre. It just comes to show you how Jacob just keeps turning on all of his friends. Okay? Now, second of all, as an act of hate and revenge. No. How is it an act of hate and revenge? It's not. It's called karma. You reap what you sow. I have never reported Jacob's channel, so you have no evidence, so how can you say this? It's like I told you in my other video that the very last time that I went to Jacob's channel was like near the beginning of June of 2019, this year. And it wasn't until about 2 months ago when I found out that the channel was removed. So there. Anyways, they reported his channel and it was terminated for child endangerment. I am friends with Jacob. I know. Okay. I know that he runs his own channel and that there is no way he is endangered by posting his content. No, he was actually putting children in danger, not himself. I mean, it's almost like these people are not very bright. If his channel was removed, that's because he clearly violated the guidelines. I mean, what part of that don't you understand? It's clear as day. It's clear as day there. And besides, you got no evidence about anyone reporting his channel, so how can you say this? And if I'm not mistaken, what you're doing right here is slander. You're accusing me of something that I had absolutely nothing to do with and causing hatred against me. This is not the first time that you people have done this. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to an article that I found on Google. It's a very intriguing article because it's, well, let's just say that it's very identical to what Jacob's been up to. So this is an article about scammers and pretty much how they harass people online. So pay attention. False accusations. Many of these cyberstalkers try to damage the reputation of their victim and turn other people against them. They post false information about them on websites. They may even set up their own websites. Huh. Doesn't that sound a lot like Jacob's Artist United website? You know, that website that he's got going on there? Yeah, pretty much. It really does sound very identical. It does. It really does. Let's see what else. They post allegations about the victim to chat rooms or other sites. Doesn't that sound a lot like Jacob's Artist United and also his both his Patreon and his Discord server? Yep, it really does. Let's see what else. Attempts to gather information about the victim. They may approach their victim's friends, family, or work colleagues to obtain personal information. That sounds a lot like what Jacob's been up to. Monitoring their target's online activities and attempting to trace their IP address. Doesn't that sound a lot like what Jacob's doing with his Artist United website? So for those of you who don't know, anyone who clicks on Jacob's website is actually giving away their IP address to him. So yeah, this is yet another piece of evidence that he is indeed a scammer and a stalker. Encouraging others to harass the victim. Many of these scammers try to involve third parties in the harassment. They may claim that the victim has harmed the stalker or their family in some way, or may post the victim's name and telephone number in order to encourage others to join the pursuit. And that's exactly what Jacob did. He actually shared my YouTube channel with other people, and he actually got other people to start harassing me in the comment section. And some of these individuals include Julian, Upload Guy 76, some other person who goes by the name of like circle.circle or something like that. And I think someone he even got his own mother to start harassing me in the comment section. So that's just so fucking low. They may claim that the victim has harmed the stalker or their family in some way, or may post the victim's name and telephone number in order to encourage others to join the pursuit. So, if I remember correctly, Jacob's actually giving away the address and the phone numbers of other people. And someone told me that Jacob actually gave away the phone number of someone's relative. And Jacob's not very bright because that was actually a telephone number that was no longer in service. so there you go. So that was an epic fail. So the next point is false victimization. The scammer will claim that the victim is harassing them, and this is actually a phenomenon that has been noted in a number of well-known cases. And yeah, that's exactly what Jacob's been doing. He's been pretending to be the victim this whole time, but he's actually the one who's been stalking people, scamming people, and like in this other post that I just read to you, he's also been accusing people of things that they had nothing to do with. Now, Jacob hasn't done this with me, and I'm not sure if he's actually done this to anyone else, but it is very interesting to mention that Jacob's actually, he's been accusing someone else of sending him pornography, but the fact of the matter is that he was actually begging them to send him pornography. So it's almost like he's creating fake evidence. He's begging someone to send him pornography, someone that he was actually friends with, by the way, and now he's saying, oh, well, they were forcing it on me. They were sending it without my permission. So he's just full of shit, man. And the last point on this article is the posting of defamatory or derogatory statements using web pages and message boards to incite some response or reaction from their victim, which is exactly what Jacob's doing with all of his pages, whether it's on Patreon, Discord, Instagram, any of these other websites that he's on. And also his Artists United website as well. This is exactly what he's been doing. He's been posting a lot of defamatory and derogatory statements about me and about other people there. So yeah, this is from an article that talks about scammers and how they harass people online. And right now I'm actually going to encourage anyone, if there's anyone out there who has, if you have the evidence against Jacob, if you have evidence that proves that Jacob has been doing any of this to you, then I strongly encourage you to speak out. We can't let Jacob get away with all the stuff that he's doing. And another interesting thing that I should really mention about Jacob is that the whole argument about him not wanting to be friends with me because I'm 29 years old, which, well, actually I was 27 at the time that we were friends, but I'm currently 29. Well, that so-called excuse is not going to work, and here's why. Because Jacob's actually friends with all kinds of people between the ages of like 13 and 50. Jacob's friends with people who are pedophiles. He hangs out with like a 40-year-old pedophile. Also with other pedophiles such as Daniel Safanova, Jan Konopka, and Mark Sidebottom, just to name a few. And he also hangs out with a 24 to 27-year-old man who goes by the name of Julian, who writes erotic stories about gay boys. So he's got absolutely no problem hanging out with all those people, right? But he seems to have a big problem being friends with me. A guy, I'm 29 years old. I really don't have, I don't share the attributes of any of these other individuals that I just mentioned. I'm not a sexual predator. I'm not an author who writes erotic stories about homosexual teenage boys. I'm not making videos where I'm prancing around in my underwear. I'm not making videos where I'm whispering or trying to seduce children or trying to figure out where they live. Similar to what Daniel was doing, or otherwise known as clout. I'm not doing any of these things, but apparently he has a problem being friends with me. But he's got absolutely no problem hanging out with all these types of people. It just comes to show you how much of a hypocrite he is. because he's apparently against this type of stuff, but there he is hanging out with people who partake in it. And it's like I told you before that Jacob's just completely full of shit.
All the money in the world can't buy me. Go ahead, lie to me. Tell me again how they stalked me. I wanna know how you followed your orders so well. Ha! You're full of shit. You had a dream, but this ain't it.
And not only is he a hypocrite, but he also likes to have he also got like multiple troll accounts on multiple websites. And this is actually just one of many troll accounts that he's got. One of many troll accounts that he's got there.